All Out, a 1968 western from Umberto Lenzi. It's a fun picture, to some point. Comparable in the entertainment value of Pistol 400 Coffins, although what elevates All Out is the lead chemistry of actors Mark Damon and John Ireland. It's something of a for a few dollars more. I suppose Mark Damon's character is closer to Tuco, that kind of a mischievous thief, than John Web's. Actually, you know what? It's almost like for a few dollars more, with Tuco and Mortimer, Colonel Mortimer from For a Few Dollars More, Lee Van Cleef's character. Odd thought, but that's what I've got here. The reception tab of the Wikipedia article for Spaghetti Western is quite interesting. I'm going to read it aloud here. In the 1960s, critics recognized that the American genres were rapidly changing. The genre most identifiably American, the Western, seemed to be evolving into a new, rougher form. For many critics, Sergio Leone's films are part of the problem. Leone's Dollars trilogy, 1964 to 1966, was not the beginning of the spaghetti Western cycle in Italy, but for some Americans, Leone's films represented the true beginning of the Italian invasion of an American genre. Christopher Frayling, in his noted book on the Italian Western, describes American critical reception of the spaghetti Western cycle to a large extent confined to a sterile debate about the cultural roots of the American/Hollywood Western. He remarks that few critics dared admit that they were, in fact, bored with an exhausted Hollywood genre. Pauline Kael, Frayling notes, was willing to acknowledge this critical ennui and thus appreciate how a film such as Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, 1961, could exploit the conventions of the Western genre while debunking its morality. Frayling and other film scholars such as Bondinella argue that this revisionism was the key to Leone's success and, to some degree, to that of the spaghetti Western genre as a whole. Let's talk about Zouam for a moment. This is absolutely fascinating. Zouam, Zatovo Western Andivo Malagasy, or Zatovo Western Amical Malagasy, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that absolutely correctly, was a youth movement which emerged in Antananarivo, Madagascar, the Malagasy Republic. Never heard that term before. I guess I'm a bit out of touch. In 1972, to support the student protests against the rule of President Philibert Tsiranana. The name has various interpretations, including a Malagasy, Western Slave Youth, and Zatovo Warriors Association of Malagasy. The term Western in the title comes from the fact that members of the group were fans of spaghetti westerns and dressed in cowboy hats. According to Leslie Sharp, the cowboys of Zouam assumed a style of dress reminiscent of Clint Eastwood, a loner recognized as the champion of real justice over the venal guardians of formal law. The group later changed its name to Zoam, an acronym for Zatovo Oranazar Malagasy, the Young Unemployed of Madagascar. The movement drew its membership from the poor, black quarters of the capital, traditionally inhabited by the descendants of slaves. Zouam were the first slave descendants to form an organization in Madagascar, and they campaigned against discrimination against slave descendants in education and employment. What an interesting part of history. Anyway, if you're so inclined, do tune in next week. We will be talking about Umberto Lenzi films for a while because they're a bit easier to discuss than some of the more prominent art films I've discussed in January and February. And I have other things I need to work on with my time. Pandemonium, I mentioned that once or twice. That needs to be finalized. Thanks so much for viewing if you have. Thanks again, my friends.